Hey guys, I'm Andrew, also known as Fire and Android, and I like to talk about movies and TV shows way too much. With that being said, join me down in the comments down below because in today's video, I'm going to be ranking all the Spider-Man movies from the worst to the best, and I would love to hear you guys' ranking in the comments down below. In 10th place, I have Spider-Man 3. This movie is okay at best. There's a lot of subplots and everything going on in this movie, and it's hard to keep up what's happening. And it feels like there's too much crammed in this movie for my liking, with Sandman, New Goblin, and Venom. And MJ getting captured every moment. The only thing that makes this movie funny is the bad Toby montage where he's dancing and acting like a bad boy. But other than that, nothing good to say about this movie, which is why I rate it a 4 out of 10. In ninth place, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. To me, this is not a Spider-Man. Spider-Man to me is I want to see Spider-Man things, and you don't really get any of that. He doesn't even punch any of the bad guys. He uses objects to make them punch themselves. And he needs to be saved by Iron Man like a billion times in this movie with the fairy and all this other crap. The only thing that he does that's impressive is him saving his friends at the Washington Monument and lifting the boulders at the end to get him out of the rubble. Other than that, this movie stinks, which is why I rate it a 5 out of 10. In 8th place, I have TASM 1. This is a good movie with good action scenes, but most of all, you get the best love interest ever. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Their chemistry is off the charts in this movie, and TASM. The best part in this movie is the death scene of Captain Stick, which I thought that was super impactful and stuff, which is why I rate it a 6 out of 10. In 7th place, I have Far From. This movie is good, but there's a lot of subplots like Spider-Man 3, and there's a lot going on in this movie that is hard to keep up with what's happening. Does this movie deserve $1 billion? No. I think it made $1 billion because it was the first movie after Endgame, and everybody was like, okay, let's see what Spider-Man's up to and how he's gonna deal with Iron Man's death. I do like the scenes in London. I thought that was pretty cool. And the illusion fight where Mysterio was the bad guy, I thought that was dope. I did not expect that though. Like, he played himself as a good guy and then turned out to be a bad guy. You don't really get a lot of that because usually they start off as bad guys and then they turn into good guys. You don't get them starting out as a good guy and then turn into the bad guys. And I did not realize that Maria Hill and Nick Fury were Skrulls the entire time, which is why I rate it a 6 out of 10. In 6th place, I have Spider-Man. This is a good origin movie for Spider-Man, and this is probably the best Tobey Maguire does as Spider-Man. But I don't think he's a fantastic worker, and I don't like how his webs come out of him organic, which is why I rate it 7 out of 10. In 5th place, I have Spider-Man 2. Hot take, this is the best Spider-Man movie out of any of the Tobey movies. And this is shows you and tells you how he really struggled by losing his best friend, losing his powers, and struggles financially. And the fight scenes in this movie were the best out of any of the Tobey. I rated a 7.5 out of 10. In 4th place, I have TASM. This is probably one of my few biggest hot takes on my channel. But say what you want about this movie. I rate it a little higher than most people do. Yes, I will say it has its problems, but you get some of the best Spider-Man stuff in it. You get some of the best actings. You get some of the best swinging scenes. And in my opinion, the best chemistry in any Spider-Man movie between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. I said that before about the first one. But I really think their chemistry is off the charts. I thought that Green Goblin and Electro were good as villains, and I like how in the TASM movies that we learn about Peter's parents and why he had to go live with Aunt May and Uncle Ben, which is why I rate it a 8 out of 10. In 3rd place, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. This is the Spider-Man movie to see, at least once. You get all 3 Spider-Man movie actors together. It's a very emotional death with Aunt May, who says the famous lines, "With great power comes great responsibility," right before she dies. You get all the best villains coming back to Jamie Foxx as Electro, to William Dafoe as Green Goblin, and I kind of hate him 10 times more than I do in this one than I did Spider-Man 1. But the reason why it's number 3 on my list and not number 1 like my other list is because he made that stupid spell and would like make everybody forget who Peter Parker is, and that drove hated the end. And to make it even worse, he promised MJ that he would go and tell her and promise him that he would go explain everything, and he never did. And just because the ending sucked, which is why I rate it a 9 out of 10. If the ending wasn't that ending, then this would probably be a 10 out of 10. My runner-up is Spider-Man Into the Spider. This is the best origin movie out of any Spider-Man movie for Miles Morales. I love everything about this movie. I like how Peter Parker died at the beginning, and then Miles Morales met a new version of Peter Parker from a different universe who's lazy, kind of fat, and just doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. But I still like how he's respectful towards Miles and shows him the ropes. I also love Penny Parker and every other Spider-Man, Peter Ham and Gwen Stacy to Spider-Man Noir. And I think Miles and Gwen has a great chemistry. The soundtrack, to me, is probably the best soundtrack out of any Spider-Man movie, and I just think that everything about this movie is so good, which is why I rate it a 10 out of 10. In first place, I have the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is a continuation after the events of the first movie, and you actually feel for Gwen and her struggle. And yes, you also feel for Miles and his struggles for not being accepted into the Spider Society because he is loose cannon. I love Peter B. Parker in this movie, especially with his child while he's waiting around, taking care of her, being part of the Spider Society. And I kind of think Miguel was kind of scary in this movie, and I don't think he was telling Miles and everybody 100% the truth about collisions. I think that's going to be explained more in Beyond the Spider-Verse. But I will say, if Sony plays their cards right, this has the good chance to become one of the best 10 out of 10 trilogies of all time. And Sony, I'm calling you out right now. If you can make amazing movies like the Raimi trilogy, the Taza movies, and the Spider-Verse movies, then why do you make dog crap movies like Venom, Morbius, and Madam Web? See, I don't get that. But anyway, guys, I rate this movie a 10 out of 10. With that being said, guys, I'm Andrew, also known as Iron Android, and if you like my videos, if you guys want to subscribe, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.